Hello everyone, my name is Loco and welcome to a best of 5 series of top level StarCraft 2. What I've got for you today is a Zerg versus Protoss. We're in the top right hand corner, we're looking inside of the main base of Solar and his opponent down in the bottom left. He goes by the name of MaxPax. Alrighty, MaxPax takes on Solar, or maybe I should say it the other way around. These days, even though Solar is ridiculously good, I have been more impressed by MaxPax. If you go through all of my MaxPax videos, and there's a whole lot of them, but if you go through every single one of them over the last 5 years or so, I have been turning more and more into a MaxPax fanboy. This guy, he's really got it all. Other than, well, going to offline tournaments, he really is pretty much close to the perfect package of Protoss these days. It's honestly impressive. I don't know what ends up going down in this series, and there have been some Zergs that have been able to catch him off guard, but I really feel like, in general, the playstyle that Solar goes for is the exact style that Max is really good against. So MaxPax seems to be at his absolute best when he gets to play his own game. A lot of Zerg players out there, because of that exact bit of knowledge, right, they try to disrupt him in whatever way possible. Solar, however, plays a very laid-back approach, a very almost old-school style of Zerg. For the longest time, we had all the macro Zergs that were at the absolute top of StarCraft 2. Zero, obviously, well, maybe first and foremost, right? He really played that rather passive style most of the time, but these days it's just not as effective anymore. Zerg has gotten quite a few nerfs. Obviously, everybody's gotten better overall. The maps have changed, and the playstyle of Zerg these days is a lot more unpredictable, a lot more, well, aggressive and a lot more tech switchy, right? A lot more transitions here and there. And Solar really hasn't been playing that style too much. He does it a little bit here and there, and obviously he's very good at, well, playing whatever style he goes for, but more often than not, Solar goes for the more laid-back approach where he eventually tries to win at like minute 15, maybe minute 20 or so. And a lot of games simply end before that point. Well, Max is going to start this off with what will likely be Adepts and Oracles. Adepts and Oracles, always strong, always good. We'll probably see a third Nexus at about 345. MaxPax, by the way, also quite predictable with his style, right? But in the current meta, being predictable serves Protoss a hell of a lot better than it serves Zerg. And I would imagine that, yeah, we're not going to be seeing too much spice here from MaxPax. There's really no reason to. Sometimes Protoss players do go for a ridiculously fast third, so maybe that's what we're going to be seeing here as well from MaxPax. Third Nexus at like 330 is actually viable these days, but it does mean that usually you need to keep your first Oracle at home. It also depends on whether or not you want to go for a third gateway unit, or if you want to go for a second gateway first. Well, would you look at that? MaxPax is mixing it up a little bit. This is going to be like 325. 3 minutes and 25 seconds on the third base. 24 even. Woo, that is sharp. Is he gonna keep the Oracle at home? He's not. Technically risky. But again, you're playing against Solar. What are the odds right now if you were to go up against Solar? You're obviously not entirely sure here as MaxPax as to what you're playing against, but what are the odds of Solar having 20 plus Zerglings at this point in time? Pretty much zero. And this is the type of thing that I was trying to bring up earlier. Solar is very stock standard in that approach, right? If you look at somebody like, for example, like Raynor will mix it up. Raynor will go for like, you know, this amount of Zerglings at this point in the game, up to like 30 or so, and whatever he feels like is necessary. Ultimately now with the Adept in position, we should have a second Adept over here too. Gateway to wall is off. I mean, this is a phenomenal start here for MaxPax, even though nothing has really happened yet, which sounds a little bit silly, but this is about as clean as you can have it here as a Protoss player. Energy recharge is available again. He'll probably pop that onto the Oracle. There we go. And now, as a Protoss, you are able to go toe-to-toe with the economy of the Zerg, despite having that larva mechanic, right? Despite the fact that Zerg can pop out tons of workers all at once, because your third Nexus is so freaking fast. Look at the worker counts. MaxPax hasn't killed anything. Okay, maybe he's killed one. Yeah, he killed one. He's cruising. We've got ourselves Blink coming up. Together with +1. I was going to call it charge. Not quite the case. All right. Maybe we should bring the oracles back, though. Yeah, one of them is going to be a necessity. Protoss players, man. Shaving away at the third base timing. Over the last bunch of years. And that energy recharge really has made it even better. Now that oracles literally don't run out of energy if you recharge them all of the time. They just don't ever run out of energy. You can use them perfectly here for base defense. All right, well, Solar obviously has been scouting, right? And he realized that he can't really stop the Protoss from doing what he's doing, but he can play a pretty greedy follow-up himself too. So this is 5 minutes and 40 seconds on the infestation pit. We could have like a pre-6 minute hive. Okay, maybe not quite pre-6 minutes, but this could be an insanely quick hive right here from Solar. Templar Archives in the meantime on the other side of the map. Blink not yet done, but Max is already going to start putting on a little bit of pressure. Solar stopped droning at 69. Pretty nice. We do now have the Hydra production beginning together with those Zerglings. Well, Oracles put in some work, though. And as long as these Oracles stay alive, they pretty much always keep on putting in work. Oh, careful, though. You have to be so careful here as a Protoss player. And you know what? He's navigating this brilliantly. One of the Oracles will likely go down here. Nope, not the case. Somehow, some way kept it alive. This is starting to feel like an overextension, though, on MaxPax's end. But you know what? Every time I think that, yeah, he's been getting great value. And keep in mind, in the meantime, MaxPax is not pushing here for anything in particular, right? Like, he can chill. He's got a great economy already, just dealing whatever damage he can. Look at this. Pre-7 minute Lurker Den, pre-7 minute Hive. Keep in mind that in the current meta, Protoss players generally don't want to play mid-game too much. They can, but they prefer playing late game. Now, good counsel there by Solar, finally striking back in whatever little way he can. Most of the time, Zergs are the ones trying to avoid late game, right? So that's exactly what Solar is trying to do right now, too. He does have a Hive coming, and this is multi-layered aggression, but I think if he has the choice, he would much prefer ending the game right here, right now. And you know what? These Zerglings getting a second council on the fourth would be really good. Solar bringing his army back. Zerglings swoop back in. And I think this is indeed a second denial. Okay. Nice work here by Solar. If this fort is delayed, well, this much, Lurkers can actually hammer everything home quite well. There is some static defense coming, so that's nice and all. But already, Solar has got 8 gas geysers. Spinecrawlers are coming up. If he can send the Lurkers straight across the map, it'll be difficult for MaxPax to actually hold on. Yep, Seismic Spines so early. 9 Lurkers already on the production tab too. It is very much so up to MaxPax now to try and slow this down. He can smell where this is going, though. He hasn't seen the Lurkers. He doesn't know about the Lurker Den. But this is what we've been seeing from Zergs time and time again. So MaxPax decides to try and fight this army in the middle of the map. He's not actually aiming to fight. He just wants to slow this down. Fleet Beacon coming up. Looks like there was a little bit of a pause in the game. Fleet Beacon coming up, though, together with a Robo. +2 coming up, too. Any delay here is fantastic for Protoss. And you know what? Those storms are also incredibly juicy. Wouldn't mind, though, seeing Protoss back up. The High Templar are so expensive. 8 drones, by the way, go down as well, as there was a Zealot run by on the right side of the map, together with a hatchery console. Starports, 2 new ones, are also coming up. MaxPax will be going into Tempest here in just a moment, and Tempest, of course, are the ultimate counter to those Lurkers. That's what we're buying time for. Nidus network, okay. Solar has decided that he's no longer trying to walk the Lurkers across the map. Maybe that was the original plan. Instead, we're gonna try and send them through in the Nidus worm. MaxPax showing us that the best defense is the offense, as per usual. Mama ship coming up, though. Tempest production indeed has started. That means he can't really easily reinforce this army right here, right now. But he's getting so much value done with these little run-bys and these tiny armies that he's got. Zergling run-by is not going to achieve too much here in the meantime for Solar, though. Zealots decide to back up once more. Spire coming up as well here for Solar. But now suddenly, right? Look at where we are compared to a few minutes ago. Now suddenly, we're playing 4 base versus 4 base. Protoss is going Skytals. Solar is gonna try and strike back. Now, this is critical for MaxPax. He needs to deny the Nidus Worm. Hotkey. Sorry, Goog. Alright, in the meantime, big fight over here too. A couple of pauses in this game. Both players experiencing some issues, and maybe that is going to be what Solar needs. Yeah, it's gonna force a recall now on this army. MaxPax sort of losing the groove of the game here a little bit. Still, though, some effective trading. But this is going to open up the opportunity here for Solar to potentially be aggressive. Another Nidus network, this time around outside of the main base coming up. Prism ready to go. Mama's just about to spawn. Mama! Oh, there she is. No, you gotta go to the left, Mom. Mom, go to the left. Ooh, Hydra lunge into a storm. Mama, you gotta go to the left. She's old. She's old. Her hearing is not what it once used to be. Okay. Tempest does go down. Hydras once more dart away. Now Solar is going into the Corruptors, though. Corruptors are a much better choice. Little Zealot run by over here. Love the Spinecrawler positioning. Looks like the Prism is not going to be close by enough to pick up any of those Zealots. Where did Mama go? Ah, Mama joined up with the main army. +1 air. Researching. Corruptor numbers are growing, but again, this is a Zerg player on just 4 bases. 4 base Zerg doesn't really inspire me with a whole lot. Now, there's a bit of creep here blocking this expansion. But a playable spot, though, for Solar for sure. Okay. It's got a lot of multitasking here. And honestly, quite a powerful army. Looks like the armies somehow, some way, though, are passing each other by in the map. Solar may accidentally be setting up the biggest surround that he could aim for here because of it. Big storm going down, though, on a lot of those Corruptors, but the Corruptors don't really care. Storms left, right, and center. Lurkers coming in as well from the right, and MaxPax's army just got deleted. In a straight-up fight, Zerg struggles with those type of armies. But when you can come in from every angle and you get a 6 around like that, it is certainly manageable. By far the best fight Solar could have ever taken there. Perfect engagement. In the meantime, there was a Prism in the main base. Emphasis on the word was. A couple Zealots still remain, but that's about it. Okay. And it looks like MaxPax has been stopped. Now suddenly, Solar can do whatever he likes. He's getting better upgrades going. And ultimately, we're now 13 minutes into the game. Solar will know that, well, MaxPax is running low on resources here in a couple minutes' time. Main and natural are already drying up. Since the third base was so early, look at these mineral fields. They're already drying up too. Corruptors are getting shot at here. Solar has very little urgency in his play here, but he's still going to try and... Well, he's very little need for urgency. He's still going to try. See if he can actually shove this army away. Because this army doesn't have a good answer currently against the Lurkers. Tempest numbers are regrowing, but so are the Corruptors. Solar wants to keep up this pressure. The last thing he wants right now is giving away this position that he's found himself in, right? Giving Protoss any wiggle room in this spot might give them the opportunity to get back into it. Dark Nexus is likely to go down as well at this point, but Solar might not even care. Solar is honestly smelling blood in the water. He wants to try and see if he can potentially finish this game with the army that he's got here, right now. So, yeah, the Tempest numbers are nice, but the Corruptor numbers are even nicer. At this point, there's 8 of them. There's more coming. I don't think MaxPax can really compete with the production of Zerg at this point in time anymore. All came down to that fight over there. The fight in the top left-hand corner was absolutely fantastic by Solar. 22 probes have gone down as well. Now he's knocking on the front door. Corruptors are targeting down whatever they can hit. Nice micro here by Solar. This base is looking pretty decent still, but very little to protect it. But at this point, Solar is going for the throat. GG. Next up, we find ourselves on the map Ultra Love. Beautiful game number 1 from Solar, but we also had 2 pauses during that previous game. And I don't know. I feel like Solar was in a really good position until right after the second pause. Hard to really figure out how much of an effect that really has on anything, right? But I do feel like overall it threw maybe MaxPax off a little bit more than it threw Solar off. It's a very delicate moment. At that stage in the game, the entirety that Protoss is much more delicate than what Zerg has at that point in time. Early game, it tends to be that Zerg is quite a bit more delicate, or at least that's what it feels like. But at that point in the game, when Protoss is just getting storm ready and all the rest of it, it's a flimsy army. You have to be extremely delicate with the way that you control all of the units. So, unfortunate game there for MaxPax. Well done for Solar. But I wonder if that was the end of the world, though, for Max. Okay, it's going to be a Void Ray first, this time around. Let's see. Adept Shade runs in, tries to get a little bit of work done, but mostly just using it for scouting purposes. How many Void Rays do we make? Usually just 1. We've actually seen some of the Protoss players lately experiment with a Phoenix instead of a Void Ray first, just to hunt down Overlords. Now, the Phoenix comes out quicker, and it's a little bit cheaper, so technically it's better if all you're doing with the Void Rays hunt Overlords. However, it also means that your third Nexus is, again, more vulnerable. So it really all comes down to, like, how much risk do you want to take, and how comfortable are you with it? Obviously, the Void Ray is way better at killing Zerglings than a Phoenix is. Getting 3 Overlords, though, is massive. I think, actually, you're at an advantage as Protoss here if you kill 2 Ovies. And he's gonna kill at least 2, and then likely also the one that was sent across the map first. Now, I don't think MaxPax knows exactly where it's located, but he may have seen it poke into the natural expansion at some point. Yeah, he's hunting it down. Look at that. Perfect rally point as well. He's gonna find it. You can smell them. Okay. Oracle has been kept at home just to provide the defense for the third. And this isn't as fast as third Nexus here from MaxPax this time around as the one that we saw in the previous game, but it's still reasonably early. Oh, gets a creep tumor for now. Apparently that's all we need. Bailing Nest in the meantime for Solar. Blink on the back of this again here for Max. And I'm assuming we're going to go into the +1 melee too. Yeah, these are all extremely conventional strategies from the both of them. Other than, I guess, the slight greed in the previous game and the very crisp execution too for MaxPax. This has all been, if you're wondering, like, what is the quintessential, like, quote-unquote normal meta in Protoss versus Zerg right now, it's this particular series. Now, the Baiting Nest is a little out of, yeah, a little bit out of the norm, I guess. Most of the time, it would be a Roach Warren instead. Pretty quick +1 melee here as well from Solar, although that's not too weird. A lot of Protoss players like to get that, oh, really? They like to get that Stalker follow-up, right? And +1 melee is really good at exactly that. Solar has decided to Baneling bust MaxPax. This is risky, but you know what? I think you need to wait until +1 melee, but it's still like 45 seconds away, man. It takes forever. Yeah, we're just gonna commit now. Where's the Oracles and where are all the other units that we need? In the meantime, we're dancing on the other side of the map. Recall gets used immediately on that army. This is something Max has been doing right before Blink is out. We've seen it in many games. He pushes right before Blink is done and then starts the dance over at the Zerg's 4th. And, well, 17 workers died just like that. There's a little bit of a run by now attempted over at the 3rd too. Lovely game here by Solar so far. Analyzing a weakness in MaxPax's gameplay and then navigating it really well. Although I say that, despite losing 18 workers, yeah, I don't hate it here for Protoss. I'm glad that Solar did go into the +1 melee nice and quickly. The +1 melee helped out with that attack a little bit, even though it wasn't timed perfectly there. But if he would have not had any upgrades here, and he didn't have a lair and all the rest of it, right? He would have effectively been into like an all-in-y situation. He would have lost a lot of time. He's gonna try again, though. Yeah, maybe the Oracles and the Stalkers were ready to go across the map once again, but this time around, they will have to turn around to protect the net. And this is giving Solar all the time he needs to go into Hydras. Zerglings are going to be just fine for now. Hydra into Lurker would be a fantastic choice once more. Solar, though, keeps on setting up the run-bys. MaxPax quickly rebuilding a lot of his economy. Already back at 3-base saturation. Stasis wards set up as well. Still, though, they deal a lot of damage. Link's coming back home right now because he recognizes that he's going to need them here. Another Revelation, another Stasis ward. This is why keeping those Oracles alive, right? And not diving too deep with them early on is so critical because they provide so much value later on into the game too. Yeah, despite the Bane bust just about 2 minutes ago or so, MaxPax is not gonna go down without a fight. As a matter of fact, this attack might just put him at a slight advantage, although he's gonna be paying the price with some of these units. Void Ray coming in again. 8 confirmed kills, by the way, on the Void now. A Phoenix would have never gotten that. You know what? It's got a taste for blood. Whew. Okay. Void Ray did decide to back up. Now Storm is coming up. It's only seconds away from being done now. 4th Nexus snuck out as well at the 3 o'clock position. I can't imagine Solar being aware of that yet. Nope. It's very common actually for Protoss players to take that base over there instead, so... You gotta figure this out, but I think honestly it's already too late to deal with it. I mean, at this point there's 4 High Templar. I believe all of them have energy for Storm. Okay, this one doesn't yet, but if Zerg decides to move out right now, it certainly will. 75 energy, of course, for a Psy Storm, and you get about an energy a second. Here we go again. Wave number 2. Now, the first wave was successful. This one feels a little greedy. Do we have enough? The Hydras really are the real damage dealer, and keep in mind, Baneling speed will likely also be here, so it's going to make those units way more mobile. MaxPax decides to take the fight, though, before the Zerg is really ready. We have Banelings coming in, left, right, and center. Great Storms, great Stasis wards. Void Ray still helping out as well, and Solar recognizes that this fight is going nowhere, and he decides to tap out. Now, that was certainly an early GG from Solar, but this again comes back to a lot of Zerg players feeling like they can't really win the game if they're not leading going into the late game, and Solar was certainly behind going into the late game there. Plus, you're going up against MaxPax, who's not really known to give away advantages in the first place, but there's not a whole lot of comeback potential anymore for Zergs. Solar decided to commit to a big push, and since he just got spotted... I mean, he saw the Zealot, right? Like, he saw the Zealot and then morphed in Banelings anyway. At that point, you're just inviting your army to get stormed. It was a disjointed engagement because, well, MaxPax saw him coming in. Hit right before Baneling speed was done, and it's about as good as you can really have it there as MaxPax. Solar handing that army, handing it over on a silver platter. It is tricky, though, for Zerg players, I think, in general, to come back. We see a lot of that, like, piled-on aggression, where, like, Hydras go into Lurkers, or we get, like, the big surrounds and all the rest of it, but... yeah. Certainly an early GG. Wouldn't have minded seeing him sit in the game for a little bit longer. I mean, there's always a chance. If you assume your opponent is a machine, and the jury is not yet entirely out, maybe MaxPax is an AI. We don't know. Maybe he's an AI posing as a human, you know? But as long as your opponent is human, there's always the chance that they will make a mistake. If you gotta keep thinking about win conditions, I feel like one win condition there, for example, as Zerg, is just to make a stupid amount of units and go for one big final attack and then call GG if it doesn't work out. You might just be able to catch the Protoss as they have just put down the Fleet Beacon and the second Stargate and all the rest of it. Those are expensive structures. And it's never easy to micro against Banes. Okay. Well, 3 drones end up falling. The Oracle lives. I think it gets to go home until the mid-game now. There's again the Twilight Council. No Forge this time around. Now, every time I've seen MaxPax go for a no forge opener, together with the Twilight Council, it means he's going glaives. I don't know if that's true in this particular instance, but I'm assuming it'll be glaives. Let's see. Oh, now we go forge. No, this is still going to be glaives. I think it's glaives. Final answer. Okay, it's not. It's... Dang. I could have sounded so smart. So why did we mix it up then? What's the difference here? Why did we go for a later forge? Yeah, just a little bit disjointed. No particular reason as to why. Anyway, Solar decides to go into a lair here together with a Roach Warren. No Baneling Nest this time around. No Evo Chamber either for a quick +1 melee. I mean, he makes one right now, but this is for obvious reasons never going to be ready in time for the Blink upgrade. Oracle in the meantime, trying really hard. Okay, this guy's working really hard. Don't make fun of him. Ooh, you know what? Losing the Queens here is really bad for Solar. He loses 1? If he loses 2... No, okay. This is still annoying, though, because Solar is never going to be able to get a 4th base up at this rate. He's going to have a difficult time. Keep in mind, in the previous game, this is when the Zorklings were running around the map. MaxPax was forced to retreat. This time around, Solar spent those additional larvae on drones instead, but he doesn't have a +1. He does have roach speed coming up right now, but... Great movement here by Max, who's going to be following this up again with Storm. Now Blink is done. Gets another Queen. Stays his ward up on the high ground. This looks so insanely oppressive from MaxPax. I feel like playing against MaxPax in this situation is going to be the worst. Because Solar knows that this is going to be happening for the next 3 minutes. And the only way he can ever catch this Protoss is if he overextends. Like, technically, none of these Protoss units have to die. Now, a couple Stalkers there go down because apparently MaxPax is either an imperfect AI or a human. But he's still catching a ton of value here on the side of the Zerg. Like, 2,100 minerals have already gone down. Only a handful of Stalkers so far. And that's also, I think, why we do see this continued aggression with this exact same build from MaxPax. Technically, the sky is the limit, and this is not even a perfect execution, and already you get so much value. Not as much micro potential, obviously, in this Zerg army. I know some people are always like, why are you paying attention to the Protoss units so much? Well, there's very little micro potential in these Zerg units here at this point in time. Solar decides to follow this up with an all-in. He's already loaded Brenda, Karen, Margaret, and Lily, the 4 queens, inside of their private jet. In the meantime, a Zergling drop will be coming in too. This is something we've been seeing from the likes of Raynor quite a bit. Saro has been very fond of this. MaxPax has been playing against it quite frequently because of it. MaxPax is now 10 workers-ish ahead. He's got a ton of static defense. He's got all the units that he needs. He has Storm. I mean, how in the world are you ever going to defend this without Storm? Well, even then, I think it might be manageable, but Storm should just be the nail in the coffin here. Nice attack here, though, by Solar. Moves in. Okay, maybe it's more manageable than I thought it was going to be, but Storm is so freaking powerful. Roaches obviously have a lot of HP. Ravagers have a decent amount. Zerglings, in the meantime, have been cleaned up inside of the main base. I mean, GG. It seems like Solar's general game plan is to go for a big push or die trying. That's effectively it. 1 big attack, maybe 2 big attacks, and that's really about it. It feels a little bit desperate, doesn't it? Okay, well, we once more have an early probe scout here moving across the map. I feel like MaxPax in particular is not really somebody, you know, all-inning. Maybe he's not quite up to, like, Showtime's defensive skill. Or maybe he is. Honestly, he might be better. Really hard to say. Anyways, I feel like MaxPax is extremely hard to beat in a game like that. drone moving out. MaxPax also very good, by the way, at sniffing out those sorts of all-ins, right? Like, he was already planting static defense over at the third base. So he recognized what was going on. I don't even think he needed it, to be honest. Like, he was already in such a good position. Hasn't Max just seen this coming in from a mile away now? Like, he knows. Oh, okay. Alright, sure. So Max still has a probe on the other side of the map patrolling. He now sees, indeed, that the lings are running out from that pool first. It's an extremely greedy opener here from Max, considering what he's going up against. But, I mean, there's 2 holes in the wall. Ay, ay, ay. MaxPax taking a page out of Hero's book. He still has a lot of stuff, though, right? So this pylon is extremely important. There is a second pylon, but it's inside of the main base. Zealot here? I guess it's okay, actually. The Zerglings can't run in here. He's gonna just wall himself in with a backup pylon in that spot. Probes get pulled as well. It's a very flimsy Protoss army, but it's not like the Zerg one has a lot of sustain either. One of the probes does fall. We have 2 gateways here, and indeed a depth production would be phenomenal. MaxPax only on single gas, so he doesn't really have a ton of income loss because of it. And look at the worker count. 21, 22 versus 12. Honestly, Solar should probably, or MaxPax should probably cut workers. He really doesn't need more workers. He's got he's got plenty here for 2-base saturation. Careful though, if these links slip in, right? Suddenly the game becomes an absolute disaster. So far, this is textbook defense here for Max. He lost 1 Zealot and a probe, sure, but they were mostly just stepping stones until the adepts come out. Now, sorry, what? Oh, I just backed up. How did one of the Zerglings slip by that pylon? Look at this little cocoon. Okay, let me speed it up. How did one of them slip by? Oh, Blizzard! Yo, somebody get Blizzard on the line. That is a bug I've never seen before. That's crazy. There's plenty of room here for a Zergling to live. Another one! That's actually a very strange interaction. There are ways to, like, force probes out of it, but usually it requires there to not be any additional space. Look at that. One of the Zerglings spawns on the wrong side of the wall, and then the other one spawns on the inside of the wall. Apparently there's, according to the game, not enough room, I guess, for 2 Zerglings and a cocoon, but the cocoon technically disappears at that point in time. Also, this defense is going really well for MaxPax. The adept numbers are growing, and none of them are dying. Like, this is... I mean, there is, I guess, not an infinite amount of energy right there on that... now 2 of them snuck around. All right. There's not an infinite amount of energy on those shield batteries, but Solar is fizzling out. He's only on 12 workers here. MaxPax is effectively doubling his income, and even though Queens are very effective on creep, obviously, they just can't really... They can't fight this. There's not enough. GG, or WW rather, gets called there by Solar, as MaxPax obtains the victory 3-1. Honestly, a great series right there from MaxPax, and we could feel that desperation from Solar. I mean, Solar won game number 1, and game number 1 was a macro game where he got like the perfect surround after a bit of a lag spike, it seemed, but he got the perfect surround on the Protoss army. And if for some reason, after game number 1, he decided, yo, I am never gonna play a macro game against you ever again. We saw multiple all-ins. A Baneling bust in game number, what was it, 3? 2? 3? I don't know. Anyways, we saw a Baneling bust, and now we have a Proxy hatchery. We've got all these weird all-ins going across the map for Solar. Even though he won game number 1, which I think was considered to be a macro game. A little bit odd. Anyways, that interaction here, with that larva spawning at the bottom of the hatch, and then apparently, I think the only thing that makes sense, right? The only reason why I can imagine a Zergling slipping around. So there are setups where Protoss players basically have a probe build a structure in like the final bit of space available. And the game kind of glitches out at that point, because the way that Protoss makes a structure is you plant down the structure, and then the probe sort of glides to the next spot. If there is no next spot available, the probe glides to whatever the nearest by next spot would be that it could access. Now, there was quite a pocket there on that section of the map, right below the hatchery and then in between the cybercore, the pylon, and the gateway. I am guessing that the game technically considers the existence of 2 Zerglings and then also the cocoon at the same time. And that because it didn't have enough space for all 3 of those entities, even though the cocoon immediately despawns as soon as the Zerglings spawn in, one of the 2 links was forced into the next available spot, which happened to be right below the wall. I'm not sure. Either way, I don't even think it really mattered. But MaxPax absolutely shut it down with ease. GG.